Hi everyone, I'm April San Pedro. I'm a crafter, a maker, and a stationery designer here in the Philippines. If you're new here, hello, welcome to my video. And if you've been watching my videos, thank you again for watching this and for being here again. Now, last week I mentioned that I'm gonna talk about materials or tools that I use for journaling for the entire month of June. Now, last week or my last video, I talk about this Pilot Kakuno fountain pen. So if you want to know about this fountain pen, you can check it out, which I'm gonna link up here for that video. This week, I will share with you the 8 basic things that I use for journaling. Now, I want to emphasize on the word basic because technically the things that I'm going to share with you right now are just the essential things that I have to keep me going whenever I'm journaling. So this does not include any accessories or anything that will prettify your journal. So that's why it's just basic. And since this video is about journaling, I'm just not gonna include the journal, which is the important thing you'll need for journaling, because I think it's pretty much obvious when you do journal, you kind of really need journals. And the reason why I want to share this tools that I'm using is because I want to encourage everyone to journal. And if you're a beginner or if you're not familiar with journaling yet, I want to show you that even with basic things that you can find on your desk or in your school or office supplies, you can basically journal. Alright, so let's get on to the 8 basic things that I use for journaling. Now, the very first thing that I want to share with you are the pens, because this is the next thing that you need for journaling. You don't need to have all the things that I'm gonna share with you, but as long as you have your journal and the pen, and then you're good to go. Now, I have here 4 pens with me, but technically I'm just using 1 or 2 of them. So I'm just gonna share with you that if I don't have the other, what are my other options. So my first go-to pen is the Muji 0.7 mm. It's just a usual ballpoint, and I think I just like this one because Muji writes smoothly, plus it's retractable, so I don't have to be mindful of the cup. Plus I think I have this habit while I'm thinking that I kind of do this, pressing it up and down. So I'm not sure if that helps me think or what, but that's the reason why I really like this one. The second one, so if I don't have this on my desk, or if I kind of lost it somewhere on my desk, my next go-to pen is this Pilot G-Tech. So it's a 0.4. Sometimes I use them hand in hand because if I want to add titles, so I kind of like the idea of having it in a bolder ink. But basically, if I don't have this, I just go with this one. So this is my next go-to pen. Another reason why, it's because I really like how this writes. And also, if I like adding illustrations, simple drawings on my page, then this pen really works as like a drawing pen as well. So that's also the reason why I like this one. Now, these two are just kind of a fancy thing whenever I feel like adding extra to my journal. So if I kind of like adding bolder or bigger titles, or if there's a phrase that I want to emphasize, I really like using this one. It's a Pentel Touch and it's in color black. So it's a soft tip pen. It's not a brush pen, and it's also not just a usual pen. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this one. So if you just write with this, you can have thin and thick strokes. So if you're into calligraphy or if you're into lettering, this is really very handy. Now, last video or last week, I shared this fountain pen from Pilot. It's a Pilot Kakuno. Now, since the time I tried this one, I'm kind of a bit addicted to it. So, lately, not just if I don't find this too, but lately I find myself using this fountain pen in my journaling. Now, I'm gonna show you a little bit of my journal just to give you an example. So, as you can see, whenever I like journaling, I just use the usual ballpoint. And this one is from the Pilot G-Tech. And what else? This one is from the fountain pen. So I don't really use a lot of colors, so I just stick with color black pens. So that's about it for my pen. Okay, so the next tool that is quite essential to me whenever I journal is this one. It's a correctional tape or correction tape. So either way, I really love this. Whoever invented this one is a genius. Now, I used to use the liquid type, but when I found out that there's a tape version which you don't need to wait for it to dry, then this is like a heaven sent. Now, I have this thing that I'm a bit scared of the clean pages, if you know what I mean. I mean, like, you don't want to make a mess of your page or your spread. So whenever I feel that way, I just think that I don't have to worry because I have my best friend here. So as you can see, I think all of my pages have correction tape. So this one has correction tape, and this one too. And even if I really journal, like a memory keeping journal, you can still find correction tape on it. So yeah, this is really my best friend. So it's like I have a pen and the correction. They are like together, always together in my bag, in my desk, or any table that I have here in my studio and in my room. The third thing that is essential to me in journaling is the glue. Now, I have this also in any of my desks and in my bag. Now, I like using the glue stick because they dry quickly, although the other side of it is if you're using a thick paper or if you really want to stick something permanently, then this one is not so helpful when it comes to that. But if you just want to stick thin papers like receipts or scrap papers maybe, then this one is really helpful. Aside from the glue stick, I also like using the wet glue. Now this one is just not handy compared to this one, but this really does the work. So if you really need to stick thick papers, photos, etc., this will really stick on your journal rather than this one. I just transferred this one on a different dispenser because this squeezes better than the usual or the normal packaging. Next one are scissors. Now I have two different sizes of scissors. One is big and one small. I like using big scissors for pattern papers, for thick papers, or the ones that I can just easily cut. Now I also have small scissors. Now I really love this kind of scissors because they are very sharp, they are very soft, and they are very good when it comes to fuzzy cutting small things. So like I love using digital scrapbooking elements. So whenever I print something and it has very small detail, now this one is really handy. Now I also love this one because you can carry it anywhere rather than this one. The next tools are technically just an accessory to journaling. So you can, or at least to me, I can still do away with this, or I can still journal even without this one, but it's still basic to me. So that one is washi tape. So I only want to share one with you because this is really just my basic washi tape. So it's just a color black with few white text on it. I just love this one, and I think it works well with my journaling since I'm just using a black ink. So if I don't have any other materials with me, this is the only washi tape that I have. So I'm gonna show you. So just like this one, I just use this one for basically almost any of my journal pages. Okay, so the next one are photos or ephemeras or something to remember by during that day or in any moment or event that I want to journal about. So sometimes or basically my journaling is more about memory keeping, and I usually like adding photos on it. So this is also a basic necessity or basic thing while I'm journaling. But if I don't have photos, I like collecting memorabilias or ephemeras, especially if it's an event or if it's a moment that I wanna journal about. So if let's say this one are handpicked by my husband, so if I don't have the photo, I have dried flowers or hand-baked flowers. Or like this one, I wanna keep this one as, so this is a pamphlet or a brochure that I made during my paper flower workshop, and I think this is one of the first few paper flower workshops that I had. So if I don't have the photo, if I don't have anything other than this, then I like collecting things that I can add to my journal. So like I also like collecting receipts, tissue maybe, or a scrap of paper that reminds me of that certain moment. So that's another basic thing. But of course, these are also not necessary, just an accessory to your journaling. The next one is a stapler. Now, I like using the small staple rather than the big one because it doesn't really catch your eye so much. Now, what I like about staples, it kind of add extra layer to your spread or to your journals. So instead of just gluing everything on it, it actually adds extra oomph to your spread. So just like this one, I have a card here. So instead of just gluing it on the page, I just used staples. So it actually gives you a dual purpose. So you can still open the card and open whatever it is at the back. Or like this one, it's another souvenir that I got, which is also, aside from the photos and the receipts, I also like adding this one. So instead of putting glue on it, I just staple it. So as you can see, there's just an extra dimension or extra layer in your journal page. It doesn't really look dull, that everything are all glued. And I think that's also the reason why I like layering things. So instead of just gluing everything, I kind of like adding layers, and a stapler will actually do that for you as well. Last, and I think definitely the least thing that I use in journaling is this clip. I'm not sure what it is really called, but as far as I know, I've been using the black one and we call it bull clip, but I think they have a fancy name when you use it for journaling. Now, this is really unnecessary, but it is quite helpful when journaling because it will help your journals lay flat. So I wouldn't also recommend the usual paper clips, especially the small ones, because it will not help you flatten your journal. So that's why I kind of like having this one, because if I'm writing, then it holds the one side of my journal. Now, one disadvantage of this one though, it actually gives mark on your journals, and I've seen some of the journals they're using it with their TN journals, and they clip it on the leather. And just make sure that you'll be ready to see a clip mark. So that's just one downfall of this one, but other than that, it's very much helpful. All right, so those are the 8 basic things that I use for journaling. Now, I just want to emphasize though that I'm using a regular size traveler's notebook refill for my journaling, but you can use whatever size that you have. I know some people use A5, some use a passport size, some use vintage notebooks, or even just a plain notebook. Whatever it is that you have, it's really about just journaling, documenting your everyday, or keeping memories, or writing down your thoughts, whatever it is that whatever journal that you want to use, just feel free to do so. Okay, so I really hope if you're a beginner or if you just want to dive into journaling, this inspired you or encouraged you to journal, because as you've seen, you don't really need any fancy thing. You just grab a notebook and a pen, and then you're good to go. Write whatever it is that you want to write to your journal, and that's just about it. And so yeah, those are the 8 things that I use for my journaling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Also, I want to know, what are your basic things or the necessity tools that you used for journaling? I would love to read them on the comments below, or you can connect with me on Instagram and let's talk about journaling or anything that's about journaling, because it's just fun, right? All right, so anyway, I'm gonna see you on my next video. Thank you for watching, and have a good day, and have a great or creative weekend. Bye bye.